Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on Chop Sports Media and, of course, wherever you get your podcast. Dave Sturchio alongside nationally known comedian Bret, Ernst, and, of course, the Grinch, America's fan himself, Keith, Ernst. Fellas, we kind of went with what it was going to be, right? We kind of knew this was coming. At least I thought we were going to give it a fighting chance, but the Cowboys get throttled by the Eagles in Week 17. And the Eagles have now officially clinched the NFC East title. And again, one of the craziest records of all time is the idea that there hasn't been a repeat division winner since like McNabb, so it's still kind of crazy to me that keeps happening. But Keith, I'll start with you. Did you have any inkling going into this thing with Kenny Pickett being the starting quarterback? Did you have any idea or think that?
I got you. So since nobody heard from me.
Nobody heard from me either.
Really? Yeah. But once again, I'm the most honest person on this podcast.
I'm you.
What are you talking about? Let me ask you a question. Do you think we just lie or we just
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, lie to ourselves?
Right.
No, I think you never. I don't want to get into that right now.
Go ahead.
I know what I observe.
Okay.
So I could say what I want to say right now and look like a fucking genius, but I'm gonna be honest. I thought we were gonna win by like 20.
Ooh, interesting.
I did,
and that's because of Kenny Pickett, obviously.
I've seen Kenny Pickett. I've watched him. I despised him on the fucking Steelers the last couple seasons.
Right.
I believed in him. I bet on those shitty offenses. He was fucking awful. Okay. And you saw when he came in his first few drives. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah.
There he is.
That's the guy. And I know we didn't have CD, but we went down the field twice on him in the first quarter. Okay. And I want to say, as far as the first quarter goes, what the fuck happened? What the fuck were they doing? The second through fourth quarter, there was a completely different team that came out there. Right after we scored that touchdown with Cooper Rush to Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, fucking whatever Jalen it was.
Which was a dime, by the way. Got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Good.
But
great throw.
After we get that, and then it's like, what the fuck happened? I don't even know. I mean, Ant Booth was getting abused. I saw that. Kenny Pickett, bro, even fucking Alice the Goon, that fucking quarterback who came in all lanky and shit. I was like, who the fuck is this tool? He's never thrown a pass before. He lights us up. The fuck?
Bret gets uneasy when we start talking shit about individual players, but he was kind of lanky.
Whatever. We're fucking Jersey Podcast. We do what the fuck we want to do.
Oh, you're...
Well, I mean, look,
Mr. fucking PC over there. Get the fuck out of here.
That's not politically correct. It's just saying you don't know who this McKee kid is.
Who cares? He looks all fucking.
All right, remember that commercial when they were all talking about remember before the season and everybody just blew up? Remember that NFL commercial where they were talking about the end of the season and people were like, why would we draft a guy named Roethlisberger? And it just showed how everybody was wrong. That's more where my head is that, look, they're all professionals. Okay.
Whatever.
But
boring. Go.
The Grinch, he's Grinch. But by the way, I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and I really, really thought we were going to win this game, or at least be close. I didn't think. I know none of us got to talk, so we couldn't be on record for that. I didn't think we'd blow them out, but I thought we were going to win, and because our defense was starting to come together. But we do have injuries, and Look, first of all, shout out to the offensive line. They only allowed 1 sack, which was good. The O-line's been playing pretty good, man. Rico had over 100 yards rushing. Defensively, what was the kids that cornerback was getting? They were just
Andrew Booth,
him.
yeah. Andrew Booth, rough day at the office.
It was all the way around, but that first quarter, man, we looked pretty good. We looked like we were moving the chains, and the offense was starting to look fluid. There's just nothing innovative about it.
Well, that's part of it, because it's like you saw what's been happening and what's been working the last couple of weeks, and that's been Rico Dowdle running the ball. And that's a lot of people's arguments about how, the success of Dak Prescott before the injury. We weren't even trying to run the ball as effectively as we are right now. And I don't know if I believe that, or I don't know if I buy into that about the scheme. But to your point, Bret, this is the most vanilla offense I've ever seen. It's just there's not much to it.
Yeah, and I would say there's nothing wrong with it if it's working.
Right.
I like the Turpin. I like putting Turpin at running back, which they stopped doing.
Right. It's almost as if we're like, ooh, this is effective. Let's stop. It's like, I don't know why they do that. It's a constant demeanor. It's an MO of the Cowboys. What's working?
I'll say this too. This loss makes the Cincinnati loss more digestible.
Sure.
If we would have went in and beat Philly and then went and beat Washington, then I would have been like, God dang, man. We could have made the playoffs. If we would have beat Cincy.
Bro, no. This would have been, if we beat Cincy, this would have been a different outcome.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, we were winners of 4 out of 5. We were winners of 4 out of 5. We would have been 5 in a row going into this game.
Yeah, I would have been different. And I could see, you got to be fucking blind not to see a different team in that second quarter.
Yeah.
Just completely give the fuck up. What the fuck was Micah doing on that one play, Sturch?
He just stopped. He just stopped.
I saw that. He was looking back. I think he thought he threw the ball.
Yeah, but I've never seen anybody actually stop.
Back to look, and I'm like, let me finish.
Go
I went back to look to see if he pumped it or something, and he didn't even pump it. So I was like, did he think the ball was thrown? But then right when he saw him, he took him out of the game.
He did. You know what? You're not wrong. He's like, oh, wait, we're still playing? Here I come.
But then McGee came in and lit us up. Or McCat, whatever his name was.
The downfall, what I hear from people when they talk about Micah Parsons on just normal fans like ourselves, that's what they talk about a lot with him.
Taking plays off.
They notice that once the big play's gone, he stops. And it's something to observe. That's all I'm saying. Once he's not going to make that big killing play, he kind of takes off, and he doesn't take off, but he takes it down a level and whatever.
It's funny. Funny you mentioned that though, because I remember I don't want to say peak Micah Parsons because we've only had him for a couple of years, but I feel like it was the opposite a couple years back where we're like, wow, Michael chased that guy all the way across the field. It's like something along the line.
Bears.
Right. That's literally the exact moment I was thinking about.
I agree. But
so it's like, where's the change?
The change is we're not
in it.
What the fuck is he playing for right now?
Fair.
He knows he's played very well this season. He's good. And honestly, I was disappointed in his play. I watched him specifically because the shit he talked a couple weeks ago against Philly about Philly, and I loved it. But I'm sorry, man. I was not. I mean, it's fine. I still want to keep him. I still love him. But he did not play the best game.
That was your text too. You're like, "Where's Micah?
Yeah.
Where's Micah?" And I was
you
just
guys think he's getting held? He was getting held.
Listen, to be fair for Micah Parsons, that dude's held every play. It's just a matter of how egregious it is and how blatant it is. There's sometimes he's got a fucking chokehold on him. Go ahead, Bret.
In Micah's defense, though, and it's what I like what he said because he kind of gave us some insight. It was inferred why he's like, look, I'd rather take a more modest pay and get some other guys in there that aren't getting chipped and held. And, he's also, you got to remember too, man, it's, 17 games in already?
Mm-hmm.
He's 16. Been taking a beating all year, going 100%.
Well, he missed a month.
It takes its toll, bro. It takes its toll, especially when you make some good stops and then all of a sudden there's an interception, and then you make another good stop, and then Rico fumbles. And it's a lot because we let 2 lost fumbles and 2 interceptions, right?
The pick six was the one that kind of started the downslide. You know what I mean? But in Cooper's defense, and we said that, very cool and composed by Cooper Rush to bounce back and lead a drive down the field. And you showed like you were a professional that could shake off and have a short-term memory when it comes to an interception.
And the thing with Rush too, guys, he's still a fucking backup.
Right.
But he's a good backup, and he is a good backup quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. He could win us again.
Chances are his contract is up. I can totally see them just bringing him back, like on the cheap.
I mean, he's a guy that even if your quarterback went down in the Super Bowl, he could come in and win it for you.
He is literally, and this is just me talking.
Game,
maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm talking out of context or turn or talking out of school or telling tales, whatever the fuck that thing is. He's like Nick Foles to me. Like Nick Foles can go in there and win a fucking Super Bowl. Now again,
he for the whole season.
Yeah, right. He didn't. Yeah, he got in there because Carson Wentz broke his back on week 17. It's like, oh, all right. Well, but he's also been around the block. So this guy's got a lot of reps, right? And he's got, I think that he's a formidable backup. However, there are many, deficiencies in his game. We've seen it. I've seen it. He's not very mobile. I know that Bret alluded to the offensive line playing well, and they did. They held their own, right? He didn't have to. He wasn't scrambling for his life a lot. He was able to sit back in the pocket. Just the receivers just weren't getting open, and that's what happens when you're dealing with the Jalens of the world. Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks. You got Kavonte Turpin. You got Ferg fumbling balls. It's like, all right, whatever could go wrong will go wrong in this game, and that's where the Cowboys season kind of comes to a halt. Now, obviously, there's one more game on the schedule. We'll get into that in a couple minutes, but the biggest pressing question outside of this game, because there's really nothing to talk about with this game other than the fact that like Rico Dowdle, gets us 1,000 yards, first ever Dallas Cowboy running back in history, undrafted, to get 1,000 yards rushing, which was it's cool, good for him. 1,000
and not nothing either. He had a slow start at the beginning of the season.
Well, it was because they're doing the committee bullshit where they're like, we got to get Zeke touches, we got to get fucking Deuce Vaughn in there, Dalvin Cook. Like there was never. I'm actually kind of curious, and I don't know how curious I am. Meaning like, I don't know if I'm willing to go a whole nother year because he's coming up on his contract too. But like, I'm kind of curious to know where he would stand if he had the full load the entire year without any bullshit from the distractions of Zeke and Dalvin and Deuce and all these, and Lipke and all these other guys. If you just gave him a full RB1 carries, Keith, do you think he's in the upper echelon of running backs, or you just think it was like he caught fire at the right time?
No, I think he's upper. I think he's good. Man, I don't know. I mean, he was very impressive. First undrafted Dallas Cowboy to run for over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, give the man his dues. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's good. I wouldn't put him when you say upper. No,
I mean, like maybe like top half of the league. I don't know, top half of the league. Again, it's hard to tell because it's all hypothetical, right? We don't even know.
He's good enough. I'd roll with him. I mean, if we have another solid running back, and they want to start Rico next year, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, again, go ahead.
But you gotta look at it this way though. He really didn't get the most touches in a full season. But at the same time, they're playing pass when you're down that much. It's not like, you're probably in a nickel situation or, where that they're going to be passing more, which could have accounted for the 100-yard game this one. But, against the Bucs, he was just
bro.
very durable. And what I love to see with him too is he, not does he break tackles, but there are certain running backs that break tackles, slow down a little. He keeps momentum going when he slips tackles.
He's a downhill runner.
But what we're talking about here too, by committee, figuring it out, that's all the shit that has to be done before the season, man.
Right.
And we touched base on this. I think Keith brought it up in game one. But our preseason philosophy is just trash, man. It really is.
Are you talking about just in regards to just not playing our guys?
Yeah, you got to get him in there, man. And there has been some bright spots. Like I really like Laiufa, however you say his name. That kid's been balling.
Maurice.
I mean, dude, he's all over the place. And we got a new coordinator this year. It's just, to me, again, we beat this like a dead horse or whatever the expression is. But this is all front office Shit, man.
All right. Well, so herein lies the problem. Obviously, the Cowboys now are officially have a losing season, right? They're 7-9 right now. They got one more game to either go 8-9 or 7-10.
Didn't he call that? Didn't he call that?
Who called what?
Didn't you call that in the beginning of the season that we weren't going to make the playoffs?
Probably. No, I've said we make the playoffs.
Well, look, truth be told, we don't really know. We got to figure out how the Commanders finish. I mean, they had a great game last night, but you're looking at a Cowboy team that missed the playoffs by like 3 games. You know what I mean? So it's not like we just were on the cusp and we were right there. I mean, for a little while, we thought like, hey, if this works out this way and this works out this way, there's a chance, right? And of course, that's just us being, fans and hypothetical. And let's get in.
My philosophy, a good team controls their destiny. And if we're sitting here hoping other teams lose,
you don't want
stuff like that, you're not a good squad.
Right. You don't want to leave it up to chance. You don't want to leave it up to and they can get in with this and help. Like, you don't want help. You just want to go. You just want to go. Now, look, that poses a monster question because in 2 weeks from now, Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer's contracts are officially up and over, right? It's not a matter of so for instance, the Cowboys have to make a decision on Mike McCarthy in 2 weeks prior to, because if his contract runs out, the Cowboys do not have a head coach. It's not a matter of we'll figure it out and we'll negotiate when his contract's up. They have to do this now. So I raised the question to both of you, and I'll start with Keith. But again, given all the injuries, given all the stuff that we've dealt with as a team, to finish either 7-10 or 8-9 with all the bullshit that they've dealt with, and I'm talking about the beginning of the year when we were getting the doors blown off us for a while, and then we go on a little bit of a run. You win 4 of 6. It's not a want now. Do you think Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones agree to bring back both Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer?
I think they're going to.
Now, is there any reason why, lean one way or another, or are you just on a hunch?
I think that because they've been talking about it all season. They have played really well down the stretch. The wheels fell off in this last game. Zimmer now, like I said, I sent you the text of it. He might not want to come back. They're saying, so that's a whole nother story. And who knows if McCarthy, as we said, wants to come back as well. So I don't know, man. I'll tell you, our biggest problem is our quarterback. That's our biggest problem right now. Over everything to me. So I don't know whoever the coaches is going to be.
Well, think about
we still have the quarterback problem.
Well,
so I don't care who you get in here. Well, we got Bill Parcells, but our quarterback sucked. So we didn't do very well with him either. So does it matter?
I want to say it does matter in regards to Dak Prescott's development. And I know that sounds ridiculous being 8-9 years in, but do you really think that we're in a position now with a guy with now 3 years left on a deal, right? He had his first year this year with all the, the injury and obviously not playing well. But do you think there's a reset button here with a new coach and a new regime?
Yeah, that's another thing. If we're gonna roll with Dak, still, I'd want to bring back McCarthy.
That was what I was gonna say. What I would do is sign him for 3 more years, let him ride out Dak's contract. If 3 years nothing changes, we have to reset. For Zimmer to leave right now, what are we're gonna keep switching coordinators? This is all the same bullshit every year. It's almost tiresome, man. It's I don't have any more wind in my sails.
You said that last year at the end of the season.
He did.
No,
he did.
No, I was very.
He did.
I'm very optimistic about this season, man.
I think we all.
I'm done with this team. I'm done with them.
I'm serious. I was very optimistic about this season. I really thought we were going to win the division. I thought we were going to do really well.
You did in the beginning of the season, but at the end of last season,
I think
you were saying the same.
You know what it is though, and in Bret's defense, my defense, I've said that a million times. I'm done with this fucking team. Fuck this team. They suck. Whatever. But that was such a recency bias thing. We just come off a really bad loss to the Packers. So you're just F all this.
It's a week-to-week league. It's a season-to-season league, okay? The way we got blown out by Green Bay was embarrassing. And, we're watching the game. You're watching players out of position. I still remember, I forgot who the tackle was going, where am I going? And Micah telling him where to go. then you're like, all right, maybe they switched the scheme up and got away from what they did. It just and what was worse about last year was that was probably the best path we could have that I can remember to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Right? Because we were the second seed. And you know, we just blew it. But it started over again. And you know, watching our offense even earlier in the season, we're not a fluid offense. There's something missing. I don't know what the hell it is.
All right,
is it Dak? Because we blamed what's his name? Kellen Moore, and then we get in with this Texas Coast offense that Dak was looking good in, and then, you know, defense shits the bed. It's just you can't figure it out. I'm exhausted.
It's around and around we go. You know, it's a vicious circle with the Cowboys. You know, last year hurts a lot more than this year to me because it's like of expectation, seeding, all that bullshit, and the way we got handled. So like now you can kind of like go into that Washington game, whether they start Trey Lance or give Will Greer some burn or whatever they want to do with the quarterback at this week. You know, going in, it's like, all right, we're either 7-10 and we're gonna pick, you know, maybe 11th or 12th, or we're 8-9 and we're gonna pick like 14th or 15th.
I don't care about that.
No, I'm just telling you how this plays out. That's the only thing. So we're not sitting there like, oh my God, I can't believe they blew that game against Washington when the game doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean?
But don't you see the difference between last year and this year?
Yeah, we stink this year.
Even when we played New Orleans, I'm like, this just ain't it. And, you know, we're like, all right, let's regroup. We have another bad game. Then all of a sudden, the Pittsburgh game, we look like a team, and then we just fell down again. And, you know, because last year against Green Bay, you're like, all right, schematics were wrong. New D coordinator gives us a little bit of life. I've been exhausted from, I'd say, the 4th, 5th game of this season with this team. They just can't click.
And look, there's a lot to get into as the season ends and what you bring back and what you need, right? And a part of this, you know, a lot of people look at specific wide receiver ones in the league, right? You look at a Jay Jetta, Justin Jefferson, you look at a Jamar Chase, right? And you look at they have a Robin. They do. They have a Robin to the Batman. The Jay Jetta all of a sudden has Jordan Addison. He's really, really good at football. He's very, very good, right? And then you have Jamar Chase, who has T. Higgins, who's now a free agent to be. And they're going to have to pay both of those guys. I don't know how the fuck they're going to do it, but they're going to have to. They're going to do it.
The league is going to have to raise this cap dramatically.
No, it always does.
It always be a trend.
It always does. The cap goes up every year.
I meant no, because, you know, and not to open old wounds, but when we talk about, well, this is what the market is. Okay, because to take your point, we have the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
He's the
the first now, which that'll change. We got the second highest paid receiver, and we have arguably the best defensive player in the NFL.
That we still have to pay.
And we're under 500.
Well, again, you have to take it for what it is, like what we dealt with as a team. Like we did not fucking, you know, I don't know, man. I'm just
we weren't clicking when everybody was healthy.
We were worse when Dak was playing, buddy.
I can't.
We played some of the best football up to Philly. These last games were the best football we played all fucking season.
Because we ran the ball and then played good defense.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what it was.
But I'm saying if you go back to the Baltimore loss and you go back to these horrible losses, Dak couldn't. No matter what Dak did, it didn't matter.
It was 25-3 in the 4th quarter against the fucking Ravens. He scored in garbage touchdowns.
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the other ones too. The Saints game. Dak can't be Superman here. Like I'm not
against the Lions, but he has to be.
Well, I don't know if we have.
My point going forward with Dak, that when you ask me, when you're talking about a coach, that's why I'm bringing him up. You need a quarterback like a Mahomes, like an Allen, like a Lamar Jackson. These guys will pick your fucking team up and carry you. He cannot carry you. He'll ride with you. He'll win with you, yeah. But he is not going to pick you up and carry you to a fucking win. That is not what he does.
I agree. Listen, for him to be that paid, we could have the same result with Cooper Rush. And do you understand what we're saying here, though, Sturch?
No.
It's
you know
not
why? You know why? You know why I don't understand it is because, and this again, I'm not a Dak defender. I'm talking about like you guys talking about. No, but you guys are talking. You guys are talking about the fucking contract, right? That's what you're talking about, the contract. I'm watching a game right now off to the side where the San Francisco 49ers are they're already eliminated from the playoffs, and they're going to pay Brock Purdy more than likely more than Dak Prescott. Are you saying that's well warranted?
How many Super Bowls did Purdy go to?
How many did he win? How many did he win?
It doesn't matter, bro.
It does matter. Stop.
He's got them the NFC championships. He's got them to the Super Bowl.
He's also got some. Yeah, you know.
And he's only been there how many seasons? This is the first season he's missed the playoffs. Dak missed the playoffs his second season.
He missed the playoffs because. All right, you know. I'm not gonna. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
We're not. This isn't. It's more about what we're paying for and what we're getting.
Sure.
We can get the same result with a quarterback at $300,000 a year. Okay. Now, if you're in 5 seasons, this is the 9th season coming up. And this is why I say we just, my coach used to say, if you're going to fuck up 100%. So if we're going to pay him this money, you give Mike McCarthy the money, we double down on whatever the fuck we're doing now and just ride it out for 3 seasons, because 10, 11, he's hurt again. Okay. If you were betting, do you think Dak is going to get better as a quarterback? Do you think he's going to get healthier as a quarterback? And do you think that right now he could take a team with where he is and take them all the way to the Super Bowl in 3 years? Do you think that's possible? I mean, do you think that's probable? That's what I should say.
Probable? No. Possible? Yes. Well,
anything's possible, right?
Right.
I meant probable. It's improbable.
It's
improbable.
I just think that, given the amount of injuries and given the amount of and the lack of things that he was not privy to, according to old, better years. Last year, they had a better team. They had a better team last year. And what?
Yeah, but Dave, we're not talking about why it happened. It happened. It doesn't look like it's going to get better. So if you're taking this from a business perspective, okay, and we're taking inventory right now, and right now we're hemorrhaging as a company. We're not making money. We're in the red, okay. Financially, we don't have enough to even sign. I mean, I guess we could. We're gonna have to do some finagling. But right now, if I was looking at the business structure, we have 2 options. We either just ride it out, okay, and go with what we're doing and see if that works. Because we can't, unless we get rid of Dak, we're not really hitting a reset button. What are we going to get? A new head coach, another coordinator? He's going to get hurt again. It's kind of like the Tua situation, you know what I mean? Or even Overshown. As much as I love him, those 2 injuries, it's very hard to come back from that. Now we have to look at that because Overshown, to me, you know how much I love the kid, but this is a devastating injury. I'm hoping he could come back from this. And then more probability, not wishing anything. Obviously, I wish because the kid has the potential to be an all-pro. It might re-injure again. And you're looking at what we're doing and it's not working. Now, Dak is overpaid. I agree with my brother. He's not the guy like when Roger Staubach, I know you're too young to remember, would get the ball. You're like, hey, we're still in this. What if Roger has the ball, we're still in it. If Mahomes has the ball, they're still in it. We don't have that. We don't have that. Why we don't have it is irrelevant. We just don't have it. So we have to reassess this and say, okay, what do we do? And again, I think it's the front office thing. I think a lot of guys in the coaching staff's hands are tied. I do think we need a football guy in there. And if we're going to go with Dak, then we just ride it out, give it to McCarthy, another 3-year extension. If he wants to stay, give it to Zimmer and just ride it out.
Well, I think honestly, that might be the easiest thing to do, right? Like if you're a businessman and you're the owner of the team, the easiest thing to do is say, well, we have this guy. He's our guy. the coach that he knows is out of time, so let's give him some more time, and then rock until the wheels fall off. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think that I don't foresee that. I don't foresee that being a change at all. Like, I understand, like Keith has brought it up, and we've discussed this before. You know, a guy like Sean Payton came into Denver and said, Russ ain't my guy. I don't care what the fuck you just paid him. He's not my guy. I need my guy. So he went out, traded that biggest contract ever to Pittsburgh, right? Or no, I'm sorry, just outright cut him, if I'm not mistaken. And took all the dead cat money and didn't give a shit, and went and drafted Bo Nix, and now they're a playoff team. So it's like, okay, so in that retrospect, I think that was a great, bold move by John Elway and whoever the fuck runs that organization, right? I don't see Jerry Jones being that type of guy. You know it. We know it. Everybody knows it under the sun. If you're a Cowboys follower, supporter, fan, whatever, media, who cares? The Joneses hate being wrong about anything. They don't want it. They don't want you to ever think in their minds that there's buyer's remorse behind the contract of any of these guys, not just Dak. I'm talking about any of these guys.
The goalposts on this.
No. I'm just stating the obvious that the Joneses are built differently than the rest of the entire league. They're built a different way.
Keith, what did Micah say about CD being quarterback proof or whatever it was?
Oh no, you just said you give him. He's the kind of receiver any quarterback can. He'll get 100 yards with any quarterback, pretty much.
Okay,
doesn't matter who's
that's also much like Justin Jefferson. But go ahead, same thing.
But do you think that's not coded? But do you think he's saying, look,
no,
that is it? How much of it is Dak? How much of it is CD? How much of it is?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's what a lot of these guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, a lot of these, especially our players, they're honest. I mean, you know, they didn't even put Dak in their top 5 quarterbacks earlier this year. I mean, so say what you want. I mean, you know, to me, they used to just do it because they had to share a locker room with someone. They don't even give a fuck. I don't think they believe in him. I don't think they think he sucks. I think they root for him, but I don't think that they think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
If we didn't have him for 40, whatever it is, the second high, it wouldn't bother me as much. Just put you like that. Now,
he's getting more than Mahomes now, bro. He has more guaranteed money than Patrick Mahomes. Not Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. Deshaun Watson.
Well, they just reworked that deal. So
what's that?
Yeah, but
I said the Browns just reworked that deal, so it's no longer.
Now that's kind of cool what Deshaun Watson did. I was kind of shocked. You saw what he did, right, Sturch?
He pulled a Brady. He said, like, all right, let's restructure this in a way where we can open up all this money and make the team better, and I'll come back and let's roll. That's what he did. So
what he did, but how he did it was he just added another year. Basically, he added a year for free.
Spread it thin.
So he's like, I'll play an extra year for free and just spread that money. That's pretty fucking cool. He didn't have to do that.
You're saying that
at all.
You're right, especially him coming off another. You know, he injured himself. He was playing lackluster football when he was in there.
Exactly.
And you would think, all right, so that's perfect actually, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, right, and they've been through the fucking ringer just like us, they've never even sniffed a fucking title, right? So if you're a Cleveland Browns fan and you see, okay, Deshaun Watson started off this year really mediocre, didn't look himself, just didn't look good, then gets hurt, right? Then Cleveland is just in disarray. Their backup stinks. Like they make a couple nice plays here and there, but the season's over, right? And then you're like, fuck, man, you got Deshaun Watson on the hook for all this money. And then Deshaun Watson takes it upon himself to say, hey, I'll do this. Just surround me with a fucking, I don't know, offensive line or something. You know, like get something better so we can be better. Are you okay with that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're Cowboys fans, you would think, yes. People don't understand this, and that's what bothers me about these casuals, is that they come on here and they're like, well, we're strapped for cash now because of Dak. Dude, with one stroke of the pen, the Cowboys can open up $95 million. They can. I've done it. I've seen it. I know how they do it. And it does start with Dak. It does start with a restructure of Dak's contract. Like, how do we turn this into a bonus and this, that, and a third? And like even CeeDee Lamb, who gets the big bag. Like, how do we do it? They can do it. Their ability to do it is able to be done. But will they is the question. Will they? Will Dak Prescott clip up and say, hey, listen, look, I just saw that, I watched the rest from the sidelines and we are deficient in this, and this, and I'll just do this to open up some money. Please get this. Get me a number 2 Get me a Robin to CeeDee Lamb so somebody could be open, right? That's what I would do as a quarterback. But again, it's a different generation, guys. You know this. You know, like, they're going to get
shocking about Watson.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for him to do that, well, talk about a guy who's trying to get back into good graces in the world right now. So it's just like, I'll do this out of the kindness of my heart. Yeah, oh, yeah? Okay, good. He just tried to stay out of jail.
Question his motives. I'm just saying it is what it is, and he did it. And, look, if Dak is definitely capable of winning a Super Bowl, but like my brother stated earlier, is he the guy? He can't carry a team. He can get the job done. And it's not like it's the third season and we're calling for him. This is his ninth. What is it? Ninth?
Listen, I know how long it's been, and I know he was drafted in 16. So, do the math. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This year was his 9, 24. So he's going into his 10th year next year. So again, would you? And again, I'm not going to go and beat that dead horse of saying like, well, if you look at Drew Brees or you look at Peyton Manning, it took him X amount of time. Like, and you guys are Hall of Famers.
They're still the type of guy where they carried the team. It was like get him help.
Well, that last Super Bowl for Peyton Manning, he didn't do shit. So I'm just saying, he was also 40.
The last. I
was gonna say he was also 45 years old or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, no, listen, I get it. The Dak conversation, the Mike McCarthy conversation, I'll
say it again. I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But you got to start, hedging your bets and looking at the future. I mean, are we playing chess or checkers here? And the talent in the league is getting. The talent is getting younger. It's getting better. Teams are playing better football, and we're just falling behind. We're falling behind. And we're not even mentioning Diggs.
Well,
we got Diggs, we got Parsons, we got CD, we got Micah. I mean, it just seems like you have all these extraordinary players and then average and below average, which again, real good coaching makes players play better than they are. And again, we don't know if it's Jerry putting the handcuffs on him, but it's just not happening. So my opinion, and I'm shutting up, we double down, give him a 3-year extension. If Zimmer wants to stay, let him stay, and we just ride out the contract if Dak doesn't want to restructure it.
It's well said because it's logical, right? It's not. You're not talking out of like these like hypothetical fantasy situations. You're talking real life. This is the bed that we made, and now we have to we gotta lay in it, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. There's no other alternatives right now when you're dealing with the Jerry Joneses and the Stephen Joneses of the world. There's just not. There's just not another alternative. There's not like another, we'll figure this out another time. Like it's not happening. And for the Cowboys,
I get why fans of other teams hate us. I get it.
Why?
It's because every year it's the same pomp and circumstance. It's it's almost like, when Tom Landry was there, we still had an image and we were still not humble, but blue collar. It was more that the media built us up. It's Jerry, man. It's this whole parade and pomp and circumstance. I mean, it's a great business model. Obviously it's the biggest earning franchise in the world without winning a Super Bowl in 27 years or 28 now.
Does that say, I don't even know what that says. It's like, look, the Cowboys this year have obviously underperformed. The injuries, the money on the injured reserve alone is kind of alarming, right? And there's a lot of decisions to be made, and we'll make all those decisions. We'll talk about them more as we go into the offseason. But the biggest one right now is who's going to be your leader, and that Bret. And this is what I talked to you about a couple weeks back. I said, man, if this ain't the guy, then can we get at least somebody in there that's going to make some decisions and evaluate these players? Because who gives a shit what Mike McCarthy thinks about these players if he's not back next year? So I really thought in my mind, once they started fighting back and there was rumors of saying like, all right, looks like they're going to be bringing him back. Then I'm like, okay, then let's fucking go. Just like you just said, let's just go. All right, here we go. This is what we're doing. Then we're doing it. Right. But I don't know, man. It's just seems weird going into the last week of the season, not knowing who your head coach is going to be. And I understand, like, again, we went through this with Garrett, after 4 years of him, we were like, get rid of this guy. Right. And he wound up being there for a decade. So like now you have to wonder just how long is the leash for Mike McCarthy going forward because of the fact they showed so much fight at the end. And he's doubling down on that, saying he wants to get to the finish line. He wants to finish this shit. He wants to get, he wants to finish it right. But I don't know. If you had to ask my opinion, I say I'm rolling with you, Brett. I just think that if Dak Prescott's the quarterback, then Mike McCarthy has to be your head coach. That's it. They're intertwined going forward, and I think that's again, it's going to piss a lot of people off, but that's where we're at. Keith, I know. On this situation, we've been talking about it until our ears are bleeding. But let's get into the Redskins. Game obviously doesn't matter. What do you want to see out of the Redskin game, Commanders game coming up, week 18, 1:00, for the final game of the year?
A well-run team. Injuries shouldn't matter, and I'll just take that out right now. I'm so fucking tired of hearing injuries. I'm tired of it. All right, fucking look at the Lions. Lions lost their whole goddamn defense, and they're still going to be the number one fucking seat. Possible. So let's stop with that shit already. Washington, I would say I would like to see Trey Lance.
I think we will. I think we will. From what I'm
like
hearing,
to see Deuce Vaughn play. We haven't even seen him play. That's what I'd like to see.
Unfortunately, I think if I had an opinion on this, I think the Deuce Vaughn experiment is over. I think that.
Thank you, Sturch. Thank you. But I would like to see Deuce Vaughn play the last week, because I know, bro. This is what you do. You roll with what the media always says.
No,
I noticed that about you.
No,
like
nobody said a goddamn word about Deuce Vaughn. Whoever the hot
ticket is, or whoever everyone likes.
Whoa! First of all, nobody has said a goddamn word about Deuce Vaughn.
I know, that's the whole thing.
So I'm just going back at you and saying I don't think that's going to happen.
Deuce Vaughn's experience over because no one's talking about it. Nobody said a fucking word. It
would be more of an experiment if he had fucking reps, but he doesn't.
He hasn't had anything. So I want to see it. I want to see him.
Okay.
Play on fucking Sunday. That's what you're asking me what I want.
Sure.
I'm telling you what I want. That's what I want to see.
Noted.
All right.
Brett, what do you got? What do you want to see? What do you want to see on Sunday against the Skins?
I'd like to see, I think Trey Lance should start. Just see what we got with that. We're watching some of these younger defensive guys play, which it's not even by choice. It's by default. Just start using this to assess what we want to keep next year. And me personally, I would just like to see Trey Lance in there. I'm big. I was big on Deuce too. I don't think they've given him a fair shot yet. Maybe there's a reason for it. I don't know. I would take Rico out.
I mean, yeah,
first half, let him run.
Because now, not for nothing, to Keith's Deuce point, right? You might need to find out what you got in that kid, because Rico's also out the door, right? And Zeke is also out the door. We're going to have Hunter Lipke and Deuce Vaughn is going to be the only contracted Cowboys on the roster after this week. So,
you want to hear something crazy?
Sure.
So the last time Washington, and I just remembered this, won the division was 2020.
Yeah, when we actually could have won the division at like 5-11 or some shit.
But okay, and then that was the first year. That was the inaugural year of the Jersey Boyz Podcast, by the way. I know. So, I'm sorry. And the crazy thing, do you know that's the first, that's the first 11-win season from Washington since 1991?
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking nuts?
I saw that stat last night. I mean, look,
I can't believe that.
That kid is playing.
They were Sturch. And your pops will tell you, they were so fucking good in the 80s. Like,
no, I know. Listen, I've seen the records. I've seen the dude,
videos. They were scary. And just to think that they haven't won 11 games since then is just.
They haven't won 11 games since like Mark Rippon or Doug Williams.
It was Mark Rippon.
See, yeah. I know.
That 91-92 team, by the way, is arguably one of the best Super Bowl teams of all time. Then you had the Smurfs. And what was it? The Fun Bunch and all that stuff. The Riggins, the Hogs.
I'm the Fun Bunch.
I was gonna say something earlier. I didn't bring it up, but I've lived through 3 eras of the Cowboys, and so did Keith. But Die Hard, the image that we had and the team that we were, it was a different team with Tom Landry, but the game changed. Jimmy Johnson comes in, just strictly business. We end up winning three Super Bowls, really. I mean, I know it was under Switzer, but that was really Jimmy Johnson. That was the team he built. And now it's I don't even know this team. It's just not the same boys, man. And it's not even the fact that we're not winning, because even in the 80s with Landry, we weren't winning Super Bowls, but it just doesn't seem like a team, man. And I watched this documentary on the New York Sack Exchange. I don't know if you guys watched that on 30 for 30.
The clip I saw about that is when Gastineau goes up to Favre and cries his fucking eyes out. You took my record. Like, shut up, dude. Your record got broken anyway after that. Shut up, I'm him.
The thing on that is that you had the four guys. Nobody knew what was going on between the four of them. And there was a lot of locker room shit that they kept quiet. There's a lot of things that I don't even think the general public's privy to that is probably going on in the Cowboys organization. And even like they knew that Gastineau, because Gastineau was the wild card. You should watch it. It's great.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to get around to it. Yeah.
You'll love it, bro. You just see how they played ball back then and the way that the teams were. And it's just a different game now. And it's crazy to me that the two winningest coaches are from that era. When you look at Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, these guys have, figured out how to win. I mean, we look at the amount of Super Bowls they've been to in the past 20 years and won. I mean, something has to be done. And it's weird. It's weird how we are. It's almost like we're like Dairy Queen. I mean, we're this fast food chain that's still around, but
nobody goes.
People don't even know, it's just not, it hasn't stepped up, even though it's still traditional, but yet it hasn't modernized. It's just, I don't know what the fuck we're doing, man. It's sad to me.
Well, look, not for nothing. And this is just, I'm just talking just because I know, and we'll wrap this up. But Mike McCarthy is from that era, to be honest with you. He is. I mean, he's from that, like, he comes from that tree of coaches back in the day, and all of a sudden he becomes a head coach. He wins a Super Bowl. Right, but
that's not what my point was. I wasn't saying that there's a mix that we're not getting. The younger dude, there's nothing innovative anymore, man. Like when Bill Walsh created the West Coast offense, or Tom Landry with the flex defense and reinventing the shotgun, and it's just now it just seems like it's like I said, it seems like a bunch of people playing Madden with adults, and it's more about the star players for fantasy football because it's so lucrative. It just doesn't seem like a team sport anymore, man.
Yeah,
it just
you're right.
doesn't.
Listen, we've seen that develop. We've seen the me of the world shift, and that's a culture thing. That's a cult. The culture of the NFL has changed. We know this, right? There's no more. There's no more big hits. There's no more Ed Reeds. There's no more Ray Lewises. There's none of that shit. There's just none of that shit. Ronnie Lott. Those guys used to kill people, right? So now, like the league has changed. Everybody's soft, and we'll just have to figure it out. I mean, again, we go into one more week. We'll reassess everything after that week. Keith, score prediction. We winning? We going out on a high note, or are we finishing 7-10?
I think we win, and we win 20-10, and Deuce Vaughn rushes for over 100 yards. That's my prediction.
That's called satire, folks. Bret.
You think it's satire?
Oh, I absolutely think that's satire.
Deuce isn't going to play.
Deuce isn't going to fucking suit up.
Hey, all right. If Deuce plays, this isn't satire, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right. If Deuce plays, got it. Bret, win, lose, draw. What are we doing?
We lose. We lose.
Yeah, I got. Listen, Jaden Daniels wants to go into the playoffs hot. He's gonna make an example of us. We ruined his first ever Cowboys Redskin game in Landover, Maryland. So now he's gonna come into Dallas and just do us dirty.
We got a lot of. We got a lot of problems, man.
Of course,
we got a lot of problems.
Of course we do.
No, I was gonna say in 2015 when they won the division with Kirk Cousins.
You like that?
Yeah. They won in 2015, and then the last game they played was in our stadium. When the season was over and they won the division, it's kind of like the same thing. Who was our starting quarterback in that game?
2015? 2015?
Last game of the season. Everything's done. Washington already won the division, and they came in. Who was the starting?
Show me Kyle Orton.
No, Kellen Moore.
Oh fuck! That was my second guess, man. You got to give me another shot.
I would have never have guessed. I would have never have guessed any of them.
No, you would have fucking said the quarterback that played for the Eagles this past weekend.
I would have said Kevin Sweeney. No, what was his name, Keith? Kevin Sweeney?
Yeah.
Why do I know
the
Kevin Sweeney?
quarterback.
Oh, all right. I know a Sweeney. Anyway.
No, we just got a lot of problems, man. We got a lot of problems across the board. We got injuries, personnel problems. It's crazy. Week 17 or 18, whatever now we have, we're trying to figure it out still. Fuck that.
Well, this is it. This is the curtain call, the coup de grace. It is the Dallas Cowboys' final game of 2024. It went completely sideways from what we thought, originally predicted. And what's up, Bret? One last go ahead.
One last question. All right, because do you think if people just stopped buying jerseys and stopped supporting the team financially, that would move the needle on Jerry Jones? Because it's crazy how, even without winning, he's making money. And
because we're more like a cult now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we don't, like I told you, I keep saying this to you. A lot of fans don't watch the games unless we're doing good.
Bret,
they just like to say they're Cowboy fans. Like it's cool.
Bret,
almost.
we were at one of the biggest wins of 2023, right? Against the Patriots. We beat the shit out of them, right? Me and my brother, Jersey guys, were going absolutely nuts while you looked around and people were just sitting on their hands. They're like, oh, that was a good play. It was a good play there. It's like,
I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about like even here, like a lot, like you go and ask them a simple question.
Oh, yeah.
A Dallas Cowboy question. They don't even know the answer. But
you know what my favorite Cowboy fan is of all time is the one that says like, yeah, Cowboys aren't the same. They're not the same as if like when they had like Troy and Emmett and okay, cool. So you're naming the triplets. That's adorable. Like I'm so glad. Name me fucking Quincy Carter and Troy Hamburg, dog. Come at me with that shit. Fuck off. Anyway,
listen, man, I'm aged out, bro. I'm aged out. I'm an aged out fan. Eventually, it happens to everybody. And I just don't, even football in general, man, like even watching college, it doesn't do it for me like it used
college
to,
is starting to turn into the Wild Wild West as well. So, I mean, we're minutes away from installing a salary cap on NIL money. But
you're watching these guys and you don't know who's going to be back. You don't know who's going to stay.
Who's going to the transfer portal.
Are basically amongst the fans. You really think that they really realize that, the rivalry between Washington and Dallas, the only way people know about it is they keep replaying the history whenever they play. Every time they play, this history goes back. It's like nobody fucking gives a shit.
But not only that, Bret, to your point, not only do they do like, here's the history, it's usually like the 90s and the 80s. They don't go in like in middle of 2010, there was this epic battle between nobody fucking cares anymore. It's always
That's a great point. Whenever you see those flashbacks, it's never
see, you know what it is, and this is
Buddy Ryan and the Eagles,
right? So shout out to our boy, our fourth honorary Jersey boy. Like when I want to see the rivalry clips, I want to see Jesse Holley running down the goddamn sidelines trying to score a touchdown. That's a fucking rivalry still, right? That's still meaningful to us. But you guys want to see the Mud Bowl or fucking when Dion shadowed Irvin and this that. It's like, okay, we get all that, it happened. But like, let's not forget about some of the more recent things, like us getting the shit kicked out of us all the time to the Niners.
If you're under 30, Washington is in a rival game. Right. Niners, we still have. I mean, Niners goes back. They definitely got the best of us in the past 20 years. It's just, I don't know, man. Like I said, bro, I feel like I'm in a loveless marriage. You know what I mean?
Just not getting laid anymore.
And I might want to go cheat. I might want to cheat on them with the Jets or Browns. I'll go with a week 3.
I saw a fucking fantastic.
I'll go clip a week 3.
Well,
right now, I'm in this loveless relationship.
There's a Jets meme going around right now. It's like getting Aaron Rodgers now is like finally getting the girl you really wanted to bang in high school, but now she's 40 and has 4 kids. That's the Aaron Rodgers you're getting. That's the Dallas Cowboys you're getting, and you're getting this only here on the Jersey Boyz Podcast. So for Dave Sturchio, Bret, and Keith Ernst, this has been another episode, a tragic one, and we'll get back at it next week. Let's see what they do against the Commanders, and we'll put a bow on the 2024 season. See you guys later.
Hey, This is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Whatever.